Snow blanketing the village of Grimblehurst seemed pristine, yet held a suffocating silence. Children's laughter, absent this Christmas Eve, was replaced by an unsettling stillness broken only by the mournful wind whistling through bare branches. 18-year-old Clara, bundled in a threadbare coat, trudged past shuttered windows and darkened houses, a gnawing worry twisting in her gut. Her grandmother, her only remaining kin, lived on the village's outskirts, in a rambling Victorian manor known as Blackwood Hall. Its imposing silhouette loomed against the twilight sky, its normally warm glow replaced by an unnerving blackness. A shiver, deeper than the winter chill, crawled up Clara's spine. Clara reached the wrought iron gate, its rusted hinges groaning in protest. Stepping onto the overgrown path, she stumbled upon a half-hidden inscription on the gatepost: "Let not Yuletide cheer enter here, lest shadows rise and hearts turn sere." It sent a fresh wave of trepidation crashing over her. Reaching the oaken front door, she hesitated. Every instinct screamed against entering, but she had to check on her grandmother. With a shaky breath, she knocked. The silence that followed was deafening. Knocking again, louder this time, she received no response. Panic gnawed at her. Pushing open the heavy door, she stepped into the cavernous darkness. Dust motes danced in the slivers of moonlight filtering through grimy windows. The air hung thick with the musty scent of neglect and something else, a metallic tang that pricked at the back of her throat. Her eyes, adjusting to the gloom, saw a macabre tableau in the grand hall. An overturned Christmas feast lay scattered on the floor, half-eaten food mingling with shattered ornaments and overturned goblets. Above the scene, hung a chilling sight. A life-sized tableau of carolers, meticulously sculpted from ice, adorned the walls. Their frozen faces, contorted in silent screams, reflected the moonlight in an eerie tableau. As Clara gasped, a floorboard creaked behind her. She whirled around, heart hammering against her ribs. In the doorway stood a tall figure cloaked in darkness, its head shrouded in a tattered hood. A single, skeletal hand emerged from the cloak, holding a pitch-black lantern that cast dancing shadows on the walls. In a voice like dry leaves rustling in the wind, the figure rasped, "Welcome, child, to the feast of Yuletide sorrow." Clara stumbled back, fear choking her voice. The figure took a menacing step forward, the lantern's light revealing empty sockets where eyes should be. It sang, a discordant lullaby of twisted carols, its voice rasping like knives across stone. The ice sculptures seemed to vibrate in response, their frozen screams echoing the torment in the faceless singer's song. Clara, fueled by primal fear, lunged for the half-open pantry door. She squeezed inside, slamming it shut as the faceless singer lunged after her. Her heart pounded against her ribs as she fumbled for something, anything, to defend herself. Her fingers grasped a forgotten cleaver, its cold metal sending a shiver through her hand. The pantry door rattled, followed by the sickening crack of wood splintering. With a scream, Clara lunged, the cleaver flashing in the lantern's dim glow. The faceless singer recoiled, a hiss escaping its empty sockets. Clara, seizing the opportunity, bolted out the back door, plunging into the snowy maze of the overgrown garden. Clara sprinted through the darkness, the faceless singer's twisted carols echoing behind her. Thorns ripped at her clothes, snow caked her boots, but she dared not slow down. Finally, she stumbled out of the garden and onto the road, collapsing onto the icy asphalt. Gasping for breath, she looked back, but the garden was eerily silent. Reaching the village, she found it still deserted, yet she no longer felt alone. The wind now carried whispers of forgotten carols. On a frosty Christmas Eve in the quiet town of Ravens Hollow, a group of friends gathered for a traditional night of caroling. They donned festive scarves and carried flickering lanterns, spreading joy through the snow-covered streets. However, little did they know that the ancient curse that hung over the town would turn their cheerful celebration into a nightmarish ordeal. As the group harmonized their voices on the doorstep of the old McAllister mansion, an eerie silence enveloped them. The mansion, abandoned for decades, loomed like a ghostly specter against the wintry night. Despite the ominous atmosphere, the carolers decided to brave the superstitions and serenade the forsaken dwelling. With each note of Silent Night, the temperature plummeted, and the air thickened with an otherworldly presence. The carolers felt a chill crawl up their spines as the melody distorted into a haunting dirge. Unseen eyes observed them from the shadowed windows, and the wind carried whispers of long-lost voices. Undeterred, the carolers moved on to the next house, hoping to shake off the unease. Yet, the curse had taken root. As they sang beneath the flickering street lamp, the shadows twisted and contorted, forming grotesque figures that danced along with the music. A spectral hand reached out, and the carolers recoiled in terror. Their lanterns flickered and died, leaving them vulnerable in the inky darkness. The once familiar streets now seemed like a labyrinth, with the cursed shadows closing in. Panic set in as the carolers realized they were no longer alone. The echoes of spectral footsteps trailed them. The group quickened their pace, desperately seeking refuge in the town's chapel. The ancient structure stood as a beacon against the encroaching darkness. As they stumbled through the chapel doors, the air inside hung heavy with the scent of aged wood and incense. A single candle flickered on the altar, casting eerie shadows on the time-worn pews. Once inside, the carolers believed they had escaped the malevolent forces. Yet, the haunting continued. The echo of spectral carolers reverberated through the chapel, singing a ghastly rendition of Hark! The herald angels sing. Disembodied voices intertwined with their own, creating a dissonant cacophony that echoed through the hallowed halls. In the flickering candlelight, the carolers glimpsed ethereal figures clad in tattered Victorian-era attire, their eyes hollow and sorrowful. The cursed spirits, trapped between worlds, begged for release from the relentless cycle that bound them to Raven's Hollow. Realization struck, the curse was tied to a tragic event from the town's past. The carolers learned of a Christmas Eve long ago when the McAllister mansion was a place of revelry. A jealous lover had invoked a forbidden ritual, cursing the town with eternal echoes of that fateful night. To break the curse, the carolers embarked on a perilous journey to the mansion, guided by the anguished whispers of the spirits. In the grand ballroom, frozen in time, they confronted the vengeful specter responsible for the curse. The air crackled with supernatural energy as the ghostly figure, trapped in its own torment, wailed in despair. With the power of forgiveness and a selfless act of kindness, the carolers managed to lift the curse that had plagued Raven's Hollow for generations. As the first rays of Christmas morning broke through the windows, the mansion seemed to sigh in relief, and the once-trapped spirits found peace. The carolers, exhausted but triumphant, emerged from the mansion to witness a Christmas miracle. The town of Raven's Hollow, once shrouded in darkness, now bathed in the soft glow of the morning sun. The curse was broken, and the echoes of the haunted carols faded away, leaving behind a town forever changed by a night of real Christmas horror. It was the coldest Christmas Eve in decades, and the quaint town of Evergreen Hollow was blanketed in a thick layer of snow. The festive lights adorned the streets, and the aroma of cinnamon and roasted chestnuts wafted through the air. However, the Yuletide Manor, standing at the edge of town, bore witness to a chilling tale that would forever darken the season of joy. The manor, once a grand estate, had fallen into disrepair. Its windows were shattered, and the skeletal remains of the once majestic Christmas tree in the front yard stood as a grim reminder of better times. The townsfolk whispered of the dreadful events that had unfolded within its walls decades ago, but nobody dared to venture inside. Lucy, a curious and adventurous teenager, couldn't resist the allure of the dilapidated manor. She had heard the rumors but dismissed them as mere ghost stories concocted to scare children. As the clock struck midnight on Christmas Eve, Lucy, armed with nothing but a flickering flashlight, decided to explore Yuletide Manor and uncover its secrets. The moment Lucy stepped across the threshold, a bone-chilling wind slammed the door shut behind her. The interior was eerily silent, and the only sound that echoed through the empty halls was the creaking of the old wooden floors beneath her cautious steps. The air was thick with a sense of foreboding, and Lucy couldn't shake the feeling of unseen eyes watching her every move. As Lucy wandered through the dimly lit corridors, she stumbled upon a room adorned with tattered holiday decorations. Faded wallpaper depicted scenes of merriment, a stark contrast to the desolation that now gripped the manor. The Christmas tree in the corner, though long abandoned, seemed to shudder with an otherworldly presence. Suddenly, the temperature plummeted, and Lucy's breath formed visible clouds in the frigid air. A haunting melody, reminiscent of a long-forgotten carol, echoed through the halls. She followed the spectral tune to the manor's grand ballroom, where a ghostly figure in a tattered Victorian-era gown twirled in a macabre dance. The ghostly woman, her eyes hollow and filled with sorrow, extended a spectral hand toward Lucy. Unearthly voices whispered, urging Lucy to join the spectral waltz. Despite the terror that gripped her, Lucy felt an inexplicable compulsion to dance with the ghostly apparition. As they whirled around the ballroom, Lucy glimpsed fleeting images of the manor's tragic past. Long ago, a lavish Christmas party had taken place in the ballroom. The room had been filled with laughter and joy, but the festive spirit turned to horror when a fire erupted, claiming the lives of everyone in attendance. The ghostly dancers were the remnants of those who perished, forever trapped in a spectral reenactment of their final moments. Desperate to escape the haunting scene, Lucy tore herself away from the ghostly waltz and continued her exploration. Each room told a different tale of tragedy and despair, as the tormented spirits sought solace and release from their eternal purgatory. In the manor's decaying library, Lucy discovered an old journal that chronicled the events leading up to the tragic Christmas party. The entries spoke of a forbidden love, jealousy, and a vengeful act that unleashed a curse upon Yuletide Manor. The ghostly apparitions were eternally reliving the consequences of that fateful night. As Lucy delved deeper into the manor's history, she realized that breaking the curse required confronting the malevolent force that bound the spirits to their perpetual torment. Guided by the spectral journal, she uncovered a hidden chamber in the manor's basement, where an ancient, ornate box lay dormant. With trepidation, Lucy opened the box, revealing a collection of charred remnants from the ill-fated Christmas party. The ghostly figures in the manor convulsed as the curse was lifted, and a blinding light enveloped Yuletide Manor. The once ghostly specters vanished, leaving Lucy alone in the now silent manor. As the first light of Christmas morning crept through the broken windows, Lucy emerged from Yuletide Manor, the weight of the supernatural ordeal etched on her face. The town of Evergreen Hollow would never forget the Christmas when the ghosts of Yuletide Manor found solace, and Lucy, forever changed, carried the haunting memories of a Christmas horror that transcended the boundaries of time. In the remote village of Frost Haven, nestled deep within the wintry embrace of the mountains, a chilling tale unfolded every Christmas Eve. The villagers spoke in hushed tones about the legend of the frozen bells, a cursed set of bells that, when rung, unleashed a malevolent force upon the unsuspecting. One fateful Christmas, a curious traveler named Emily arrived in Frost Haven, drawn by the allure of the quaint village and its mysterious history. Intrigued by the chilling stories shared at the local inn, Emily set out to uncover the truth behind the frozen bells. As the clock struck midnight, Emily followed the faint sound of distant bells through the snow-covered streets. The air was thick with an unnatural stillness, and the village seemed frozen in time. The path led her to the abandoned church at the edge of Frost Haven, its dilapidated steeple casting an ominous shadow on the ground. Ignoring the warnings etched on the weathered door, Emily stepped inside the desolate church. The air inside was frigid, and a sense of foreboding settled upon her as she approached the ancient bell tower. Against her better judgment, Emily couldn't resist the temptation to ring the frozen bells. The moment the bells echoed through the church, the temperature plummeted, and an otherworldly wind whistled through the rafters. The air became thick with haunting whispers, as if the spirits of Frost Haven had awakened from their icy slumber. Unseen eyes seemed to watch Emily from the shadows, and an ethereal figure materialized in the flickering candlelight. The ghostly presence revealed itself as Elijah, a villager who, centuries ago, had unleashed the curse of the frozen bells in a moment of despair. The village had paid a steep price, trapped between the realms of the living and the dead. Its inhabitants were condemned to relive the same cursed Christmas Eve over and over again. Elijah implored Emily to break the curse by finding the Bell of Atonement hidden deep within the heart of the frozen forest. To aid her quest, he bestowed upon her a lantern that flickered with an otherworldly flame, a guiding light through the darkness that cloaked the cursed woods. Undeterred by the chilling task, Emily ventured into the frozen forest, its twisted trees casting elongated shadows on the pristine snow. The silence was deafening, broken only by the occasional crunch of her boots and the mournful howl of the icy wind. The lantern's glow danced eerily, revealing glimpses of ghostly figures that flitted through the trees. As Emily journeyed deeper into the heart of the forest, the air grew colder, and the ground seemed to groan beneath her feet. The whispers of the frozen bells intensified, urging her to turn back. But determination fueled her steps, and she pressed on until she stumbled upon an ancient shrine, adorned with a single bell, the Bell of Atonement. The moment Emily touched the frozen metal, the forest erupted in an otherworldly symphony. The Bell of Atonement resonated with a mournful sound, echoing through the trees and dispelling the cursed echoes of Frost Haven. The spectral figures faded into the mist, their frozen gazes thawing into expressions of gratitude. Yet, as the curse lifted, a bone-chilling wail pierced the air. The malevolent force that had gripped Frost Haven retaliated, manifesting in a towering figure of ice and shadows. The villagers, now free from the curse, gathered in the ethereal clearing, their breath visible in the cold night air. With the lantern's flame burning brightly, Emily confronted the icy entity, realizing that the only way to banish it was to sacrifice the lantern, a beacon that held a fragment of the curse's power. As the lantern's flame extinguished, the entity recoiled in agony, its icy form shattering into a million shards. The forest fell silent, and Frost Haven emerged from its spectral slumber. The once frozen village now embraced the warmth of a true Christmas morning. Grateful spirits departed peacefully into the unknown, leaving Emily standing amidst the thawing trees. As the first light of dawn painted the sky, the church bells in Frost Haven rang out in a joyous chorus, free from the frozen grip of the curse. The villagers, now able to move on, embraced Emily as their savior. She, too, felt a sense of closure, knowing that her journey had brought redemption to a village trapped in the icy clutches of a centuries-old Christmas horror.